Lynn Speral is here. Lynn is the Regional Chief Executive Officer of the American Red Cross. Hello, Lynn. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
You bet.
So, the American Red Cross is one of those time-honored institutions that in tough times, is going to step up to the plate. We've had, a couple of weeks worth of anticipation over the hurricane situation now with Dorian. While it's not been as bad as we thought it could be in the U.S., it certainly whacked the Bahamas. Tell us a little bit about how this works. You give up personnel to help with this effort. You send them down to the edge of the storm, right?
You bet. Yep. So we track these storms along with the National Weather Service and make determinations of where we need to be ready. And so we're all about being prepared and being ready to respond. We don't wait until afterwards, when we can be ready to go. And so a storm like this that has been so unpredictable really made us need to put folks and resources in different areas. So we started out in the Florida area, and then now we're moving those resources up north along the coast into the Carolinas and Georgia.
How much of the footprint of American Red Cross's response is American Red Cross employees versus people that say, I want to help, volunteers?
Oh, much more volunteer. And so our entire workforce is over 90% volunteer.
Wow.
And so the folks that we have sent from this local area, we've sent 15 volunteers. Some of those went out way ahead of the storm, and then we're still sending some now. And then we've got one staff member who went, and his area will be in the reunification. So if we get folks who get separated due to the storm, then we help to bring those folks together.
Is it a challenge to get that amount of volunteers to respond to these things?
Our volunteers go fully trained. And so we don't just accept anybody that wants to go. And so you have to be a Red Cross volunteer. You have to have gone through the training. So you think about somebody that's going to help with the shelter. They need to know who can come into the shelter, who can't. What do we need to do to keep everybody safe? Food handling as well. We need to know how to do that so we don't get anyone sick. So all of that is through training. And then once somebody is trained, they go into our volunteer connection system and they say, I'm available to go. And then we have a system that says, okay, these positions are open. And if you qualify for those positions based on the training that you've had, then you are able to go.
What would you compare this particular hurricane, this response to? I mean, there was so much anticipation over it. Obviously, we had plenty of warning, as you do with hurricanes, but it seemed like even a little more with this one, and some anticipation what the track would be. Is it par for the course, or was it, from a response standpoint, extraordinary?
Yeah, our VP of Disaster Services said yesterday, when you talk about a deployment as an example, and if you've gone to one deployment, you've gone to one deployment because everyone is so different. I would compare it, though. You think about the spring around here. And so across our region, we had potential for flooding and we had some actual flooding. And so I think about that for our local team here. We needed to be ready for the worst. And so we were ramped up and ready to go that had the Red River flooded along its banks going, up to the north. Then we were ready to respond to that. Gratefully, it didn't here. It did across South Dakota and out in western North Dakota. We had some problems. But you have to be ready, and you have to have those resources available and ready to go.
Where are the majority of your folks right now? Where's the biggest concern?
Right now they're in South and North Carolina. Yep. And then we'll know a little bit more today, whether it has moved more into Georgia as well. We still do have some folks in Florida. So a lot of people had to evacuate. And so there are evacuation shelters, which means a place to ride out the storm. And then there are actual shelters. And so we still have over 100 shelters open along that way as well.
When you have an event like this, it really becomes as much a media event as it does a real weather event. Do the donations to American Red Cross go through the roof? I mean, people seeing this and saying, okay, I can't be there, I can't volunteer, I can't do anything, but I could donate some money. Do you see a spike?
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. And it is such a good way for all of us if we think, gosh, I can't give the time to go, and what can I do? And so your financial donations help us to be ready for these types of storms, helps us respond when they do hit. And then there's a recovery period. And so to be able to keep people safe and warm and then help them get on that next step in their life, that's exactly what your donation does.
And where does Red Cross say, we're done with this one, we're going to the next one? What has to be, what has to be complete?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the storm. And so if you think about the storms that we had with Harvey and Florence and Irma and Maria and Nate that year, that recovery period went on quite some time. Generally speaking, it's going to be a matter of a few days to a few weeks to a few months. If you think about the horrible fires out in California, and with the Camp Fire out there that last year, we were out there for many months.
Very interesting. How do folks donate again, by the way?
Redcross.org or 1-800-RED-CROSS, or you can simply text to 90999.
That's worked well, hasn't it? The text.
Yeah, it really has.
And if you do 90999,
yep,
it's a $10 donation.
$10 donation, and you can specify to Dorian if you wish, or you can put it to where it's needed most.
Lynn Speral, who is the Regional Chief Executive Officer for the American Red Cross Dakotas Region. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott.
You bet. More